Chinese Communist Party has its shadowy fingers stretched throughout the entire world, but some countries are more corrupted than others. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. The Chinese Communist Party is like an international crime boss. Their influence affects entire countries' economies, media, technology, foreign policy, and more. Of course, some countries are more affected than others. So, here are the 5 countries that have been the most corrupted by the CCP, as ranked by the China Index by Doublethink Lab. Starting with number 5, Thailand. Thailand has the largest overseas Chinese population in the world. So it's no surprise that Thailand is also home to lots of Chinese influence. You have to be careful about harmful foreign influences. Here in the US, we let in too many Brits and then bam, James Corden got a late night show. Thailand has traditionally been a key non-NATO ally to the US, but ever since the 2014 military coup, Thailand has shifted more and more towards China. This was Thailand's 12th coup since 1932. I'm shocked a country where power is routinely taken by force would find China relatable. Now, Thailand is conducting tons of bilateral military exercises with China and has grown more dependent on Chinese military hardware, like Chinese tanks and Chinese submarines. In fact, between 2019 and 2023, China accounted for 44% of Thailand's military imports. I hope while giving them the equipment, China said, "Don't go using this on your 13th coup now, you crazy kids." China's also expanding its influence over Thailand's critical infrastructure, like ports, 5G networks, trains, and even satellites. So, the most unrealistic thing about the 3rd season of White Lotus is the fact that the characters have such great cell service using Chinese 5G and satellites. China's also expanding media cooperation with Thailand and funding Thai journalist associations. Here are the members of the Thai Media Board visiting Yunnan province in China, all in the name of offering alternative perspectives and balance to Western media. Because truly, China cares about alternative perspectives, as long as that perspective is that China is great. So, alternative to reality. China's also hijacking Thai academia, with tons of China-affiliated Chinese language centers known as Confucius Institutes, as well as think tanks, academic research centers with Chinese links, and tons of Chinese grants. Now, unsurprisingly, Thailand has been doing the CCP's dirty work, like deporting 40 Uyghur men back to China after holding them in detention for more than a decade. No need to worry, says Thailand. After all, China pinky swore they went back voluntarily. The 5 we saw when we visited looked well. And the rest will definitely, totally be well looked after. 24/7. Number 4, Nigeria. Nigeria is Africa's largest economy and most populous nation, so it should come as no surprise that China has its eyes on it. China's been fostering deeper ties with Nigeria, with tons of investments into things like manufacturing, along with energy and mineral deals. Meanwhile, quid pro quo, Nigeria toes the line for China on the international stage, putting out statements that back China at the UN on its treatment of Xinjiang, Hong Kong, and Tibet, along with other pro-CCP messages, such as Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. Nigeria opposes any form of Taiwan independence. I wonder if it's hard to stand up for China when their pockets are so heavy with Chinese money. They even have Nigerians participate in Xi Jinping's seminars in Beijing. Chinese enterprises have flooded Nigeria, including those giving a hand in developing a digital economy. In fact, Chinese tech company Huawei, closely tied to the Chinese military, has been training thousands of Nigerians to promote e-governance. Huawei claims it has trained 70,000 Nigerians in information and communications technology, and it has plans to train tens of thousands more. It's not exactly comforting, especially considering that Nigeria's presidency met with Chinese cyber authorities to build CCP-inspired cybersecurity laws and internet firewalls. But hey, it's not like Nigerians are synonymous with shady things on the internet. That prince of theirs is the most honest guy I know. Number 3, Singapore. Singapore is a majority Chinese state, at least by population. It's also a major Chinese tech hub. It houses the headquarters for tons of Chinese companies, including the likes of TikTok, Alibaba, and Shein, which are synonymous with being high quality and ethical. the same way porcupines are synonymous with being cuddly. Singapore also collaborates with China on space technology, plus tons of digital economy initiatives. Singapore's two internet service providers, Singtel and StarHub, both have agreements with China Mobile, China Unicom, and China Telecom to collaborate on the Internet of Things. In addition, Singapore is relying more and more on Chinese EV company BYD for its public transportation, as well as Huawei for EV chargers. Aside from technology, the CCP has entrenched its messaging of telling China's story well in Singapore, especially in Chinese language publications. Aside from getting mainland Chinese journalists onto Singapore's state broadcaster, China has leveraged Singapore media outlets like Lianhe Zaobao to push pro-CCP narratives, especially on issues like Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and the Ukraine war. Journalists report self-censoring and being told by their organizations to toe the Chinese narrative to avoid trouble with editors and Chinese authorities. Singapore also puts on cultural activities with links to the Chinese Embassy and the United Front Work Department, the United World Chinese Association, various other China-linked associations, and more. And it seems to be working. A recent poll found that Singaporeans view China's influence as more positive than that of the US. Seriously? Do they have eyes and ears? I ask because I wonder if China forcibly harvested them. Number 2, Cambodia. In recent years, the Cambodian government has basically made themselves a vassal state to China. So much so that in 2021, after being criticized for his connections to China, Cambodian leader Hun Sen said, "If I don't rely on China, who will I rely on? Literally anyone else." According to the China Index, Cambodia remains deeply reliant and tied to China across nearly all industries, branches, levels of government, and portions of civil society, academia, and media. In fact, China is Cambodia's top investor and donor, especially for critical infrastructure projects like a $1.7 billion canal, massive expressway projects, a strategic naval base, and a resort that the US suspects is being used to house Chinese military assets. Because China tries hiding military assets in everything. That's why I always check dumplings before biting into them to make sure I don't chip my tooth on a rifle. China even controls one of Cambodia's 3 international airports. There's so much Chinese influence in the country that Chinese companies can go directly to Cambodian People's Party elites to immediately greenlight projects. But don't worry, it's not just a one-way street, because Cambodia has shown its appreciation to China with a street named after Chinese leader Xi Jinping. That's right, Xi Jinping Boulevard, which I assume to honor his legacy has 24-hour surveillance so that anyone that tries walking over him is black-bagged and called a dissident. The collaboration between the two countries can be seen everywhere. They've even deepened law enforcement cooperation. Although that might be because of the shadowy Chinese firms that have taken over parts of the country, adding gambling, human trafficking, and organized crime to the mix. And not to be outdone by Thailand, Cambodia has also sent persecuted Uyghurs back to China, so they can be well looked after 24/7. So what could possibly top Cambodia? Number 1, Pakistan. Pakistan and China are very close, especially when it comes to countering India. To some in Pakistan, China is the most reliable partner and all-weather friend of the country, specifically when that weather is a certain type of rain. Pakistan and China basically have a patron-client relationship. China supports Pakistan's economy by lending billions of dollars worth of money. China also supports Pakistan's military through training, because China loves conducting training, especially drills near Taiwan, which is an inalienable part of China's territory, according to Nigeria. But they also support Pakistan's military with equipment like Chinese fighter jets, missile technology, and a bunch more. China's footprint isn't just in Pakistan's military, it's also on their tongue since they're such huge bootlickers. China is a major contributor to Pakistan's telecom sector, its science and technology sector, and its nuclear power plants. As for Pakistan's media, well, they share a lot of content with China, and Chinese state-run media even has a platform in Urdu. Pakistan and China are also advancing their collaboration in higher education, so that Pakistani people can learn things like Chinese language and culture, and how to be astronauts on a joint mission between Pakistan and China, because why limit their propaganda to just this planet? It's a great deal for Pakistan, just as long as they don't ask about how China's been treating fellow Muslims in Xinjiang. And all Pakistan has to do in return is keep cheering for China, calling its economic development an example for the world, and stick by China's side in the United Nations, and ignore a few little problems here and there, like Pakistan's entire economy relying entirely on China, or Pakistani bride trafficking to China, which is so terrible, it's almost impressive. Women are actually thinking, please don't send me to China, I'd be safer here in Pakistan. So there you have it, the China Index's top 5 countries most corrupted by CCP influence. By the way, if you're wondering where the United States falls on the list, for 2024, it's number 38, down from 21 in 2022. So maybe Beijing Biden wasn't as friendly towards China as some people say. But even the lowest on the list, number 101, North Macedonia, still has some influence from the Chinese Communist Party. But with people like you supporting China Uncensored, we can make a difference to push back against China's corrupting influence. To keep China Uncensored fighting against the CCP, head over to ChinaUncensored.tv to join our exclusive community with episodes you won't see here on YouTube. And if you want to check out the complete list from the China Index, the website is in the description. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.